going on, guys? It's Justin Valencia over here with my co-host, Mr. 302, Delaware Mike. And today we have a very special individual with us, the American gangster, the one, the only, Sean Henderson. Sean, thank you for being with us today.
Beyond happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And
Hold
Mike,
on a second. Hold on.
what's going on, Mike?
It's burning me up.
What's wrong?
I told you I took that cryptocurrency you paid me with.
Yeah.
Shares. I took it to my financial advisor.
I gave him 100 shares, guys.
Yeah. And you know what he says?
What do you say?
It's worthless.
Oh,
It
no.
doesn't exist anymore.
What do you mean? It's from Europe. I told you it's from
Yeah,
Europe.
it was from Europe. You know what country in Europe that stock was from? The Ukraine.
What?
What? Don't give me that one.
No way.
Phone
Well-
given. Unreal.
No, don't worry about it. I've gotten hold of my two lawyers, Elliot Shyster and Eugene Schmuck.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, they're big high power lawyers, and they're writing up a contract. And as of next week, by the next interview we do, I'm going to be half owner, have all profit rights and LLC rights to Valencia Society Incorporated.
Whoa. We don't got to do all that. We don't got to do. Here,
we're going to do that.
Hold on.
What?
Here. On camera, I'm paying him cash. I'm paying him cash.
Look, you can take your water ones.
No.
No, you can take your water ones, and I'm still going to do. I'm going to be half owner. You're going to sign this.
No, we
we're going to
don't
do
gotta
the interview.
We don't got to do it. We don't got to do it.
Look, I don't want to waste this time.
We don't got to do it.
I'm getting
You got paid, and you'll get.
No, you're going to sign the contract. Let's get on with this. Don't worry about it.
We'll take care of it.
Schmuck and Shyster are on the job, and they're good lawyers, okay? And I'm sending you half the bill for that, too.
Oh, are you?
And they don't come cheap.
We'll see about that.
Hey, I'm in demand. I can start my own podcast. He thinks I just walked into a wrestling school.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He thinks I just stepped into a wrestling school with a blank check.
Oh,
You take my credit card. No. I'm too old for that. All right. Sorry, Sean. Okay. You don't know what I go through here.
I apologize.
See, Sean, if I worked for Sean, he'd probably have my envelope right when I walk into the building. Right?
Like
I don't even have to put my gear on. He's going to hand me a
You
check.
got the envelope. You gave it to JD. That's not my fault.
Yeah, that didn't have any money on it.
JD took his money out.
He hands me JD's envelope, and then JD takes the money out and gives me a blank envelope. Look, I don't want to talk about it. Don't worry. I got my lawyers, Shyster and Schmuck. All right, and they're going to settle this one. I'm going to be half owner of this company.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
I know all about YouTube monetization checks. Don't tell me that. All right. Okay.
Let's get on with the interview.
Sorry.
Sean, thanks again for being on with us. What's your first introduction into wrestling?
Well, my dad was a huge fan of wrestling, so he would have it on the TV, and I fell in love with it. Just watching whatever I could, WWE, WCW. I love pro wrestling. I would say what really kept my love, like from when I was a kid up into my teen years and adult years, was definitely indie wrestling, and that was something I kind of fell into when my dad actually just knew someone from a random soccer team that he coached, and he actually got tickets for the show. It was a local show actually in this area, and I just fell in love with indie wrestling when I was around like 12. So,
you know, there's a glare behind you. Is there a light behind you? When you move your head, it kind of
there is. Let me try to. Does that look a little better?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a lot better. I didn't want it to look bad on the thing. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
that's
we can
cool.
keep that there. Oh, okay. So you like wrestling?
Yeah.
Okay.
So growing up, you were a big Bret Hart fan, correct?
My favorite of all time. Hell yeah, man. Absolutely.
That's awesome. What was your favorite? Growing up, what match really stands out like from your childhood?
I remember rewatching Bret versus Owen WrestleMania 10 a lot. Love that match. It's still a match that I'll reference almost every SHP pre-show meeting. I'll always reference that and telling people why the opening match is always so important because it sets the pace for the show. And Bret Owen was the perfect way to pace that show. I love that match. I know it's a random one that doesn't get talked about enough, but I've also loved Bret versus Diesel, Survivor Series 95. A lot of hardcore wrestling fans will recognize that's like the first time anyone ever went through a table on a WWF pay-per-view. So I think that's pretty sick.
Oh, he's a historian.
Oh yeah.
We got good talking in. Now, I know you did amateur wrestling in high school, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I amateur wrestled from 10 all the way till my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay. So what weight were you at? Like 130?
Yeah. 126, 132 was my usual weight classes that I was in for high school.
Wow. See, I like that because I look at the old shoot interviews where they only took like amateur wrestlers, football players, real athletes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, you didn't wrestle college, right, or nothing, but you did 3 years of amateur wrestling. That is huge respect. That is harder than wrestling.
Thank you.
No. I go to my school boys won state championships. I love amateur wrestling. I respect.
Same. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I've been going for years to amateur wrestling. So
that's so
that's
awesome.
why I remember when I first met you. You said you were amateur wrestled. So then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy. See, he can take care of himself in the ring.
Oh yeah.
I always try to.
Yeah. So when you were amateur wrestling, you had 3 years, and then you went to wrestling school. How much did that help you in wrestling school?
Oh, it helped the world. It really did. Like just having cardio, footwork, like certain little things that like you didn't know could transition into wrestling school that really made a lot of it so much easier than it did. Like just little things like that, like really helped. Like high school wrestling, I can't recommend enough because it molds you into how do I put this? Like the expectation of what an athletic pro wrestler is, I think was the perfect transition for me. Like perfect.
That's why back in the day you saw that you watched shoot interviews of the veterans. They wanted to be able to protect themselves in and out of the ring.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
you have that. You have that. See, people don't know. He'll take you down and tie you in the front. No, I wouldn't mess with that guy. Yeah, you would not. He looked quiet guy, but you could defend. I know you can defend yourself. You know?
Oh, absolutely. I always try to be in good spirits and having fun. But yeah, definitely. That's the other great thing about amateur wrestling, man. Always learn how to take care of yourself like that. So totally agreed.
Right. So when I was going to talk about the amateur a lot because he likes the amateur and it's important. So when you go to a wrestling school, the amateur, how far ahead are you? When you went to wrestling school, how far ahead were you of a guy who had no amateur experience? I mean, he might have been a little athletic, but like, how much advantage was that? Like,
oh, it was a huge advantage because in amateur wrestling, your footwork is definitely something that they're really keen on, and like how you move, not wasting any motion. So like that was almost exactly what they want, in wrestling. Like, for example, like hitting the ropes. A lot of the time, the most you should be taking stepwise to hit the ropes would be 2 to 3 times, no more than that, because then you have kind of like a Fred Flintstone kind of run, and it looks a little awkward and a little clunky. So like little things like that really progressed my transition very smoothly. So yeah, like it helped a lot. Like little things like running ropes or your footing for like tying up, just little things like that really helped.
Rolling and backdrops,
Yeah, absolutely, and rolling too. Yeah, because like that was usually an amateur wrestling warm up before you really got into what you're doing was rolls and back rolls and stuff like that. So yeah, that's another thing that really helped.
I've seen videos of people training and they can't get that roll no matter what because you got to let yourself go. But
yeah,
I've seen when I go to high school wrestling, they're all rolling around. They're doing a basic warm up for a professional.
Yeah.
You could probably take any wrestler, amateur wrestler, and put him in, and he'll do all the exercises. Yeah. I have huge respect for amateur wrestling.
Oh, same. Thank you for that. You know, in a lot of people's work, like Braun Breaker's a perfect example of someone who's a freak athlete like that. Like certain wrestlers, you can see like how unbelievably athletic they are due to stuff like that. It's really incredible.
Right. But I guess wrestling would be the most important sport you could be in before you get into pro wrestling. Amateur.
I'm biased, so I'm definitely going to agree with that.
Yeah, no, it has to be. I mean, you could be a great football player, but you're on the mat. You're on a mat. You're rolling. You're taking back bumps. You're doing physicality. Yeah. You're doing everything. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Perfectly said too. I was about to say that was good.
That was good. So when you went to the wrestling school, well, so you met Matt. I heard this.
Let's back
You
up.
go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
We
no.
jump around a lot, but don't worry about it. All right, go.
No,
Yeah.
especially because I know Sean's a big, he was a big indie fan growing
Okay.
up. What was your first introduction to independent wrestling?
The first independent wrestling show I ever went to, it's weird. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it was April 2010. And it was actually at the Flyer Skate Zone for TWA. And I remember the Flyer had like Jimmy Snuka and Blue Meanie and Steve Carino. And I was sold. I was so hooked. I was like, oh man, I definitely want to go. And it's kind of like a rabbit hole. Like you fall down and then you start discovering other things. I started discovering Ring of Honor and CZW and FIP and all the indies. And I just fell in love with independent wrestling. Like I still to this day love independent wrestling. And like uh it was incredible. Like especially that 2010 time period, like everything was so hot. Like CZW was hot, Ring of Honor was hot. Like I fell in love with indie wrestling at the perfect time.
What was there a specific event or a match that you watched live and you were like, hey, I want to be a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That was April 11th, 2015, CZW Best of the Best. When Speedball Mike Bailey won the tournament. He beat John Gresham in the finals. And that whole show was incredible. Like the way it was such a perfect roller coaster. Like Speedball won the tournament. Connor Claxton jumped off the scaffold face first into the chairs. Nick Gage's first CZW show back in like 5 years. Like it was just incredible. And I knew that was 100% what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was going to be involved in pro wrestling because of that show. So yeah, definitely Best of the Best 2015, 100%.
Oh wow.
So I mean, you now before that, how many shows had you been to?
Oh, at least in the hundreds at that point, because I'd been going to
Okay. Do you remember me at the shows walking around before you met me?
yeah, because I would go to almost everything that was in my area. So like anything, so all the CZW shows, ECWA, anytime Ring of Honor was in Philadelphia. Trying to
Oh
think,
wow.
there were a lot of indies. I feel bad that I can't remember all of them, but anything that was in the area that like was during the weekend, I went to because I just loved indie wrestling so much. On Point Wrestling, I was a big fan of. Like I just
Oh
went
yeah,
to
yeah.
everything I could.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
That's something. Yeah.
So that was 2015. You said, right? You started training soon after that.
Yeah, that actually worked out perfectly because that Best of the Best was April 2015. And during my lunch in my junior year of high school, Matt Tremont messaged me and said, hey, this was November 2015. Hey, I'm starting up a class. I'm going to train wrestlers, referees, who like whatever field you'd like to get into pro wrestling. And I knew that, I was going to pursue pro wrestling. So I was like, I'm not going to wait. It's my junior year of high school. I'm going to graduate in a year anyway. Like, might as well get started early. So, yeah. So I started training November of 2015.
Oh, that's awesome. And I remember hearing another story. You were how nervous you were. You typed his number in and you went and gave him that call. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was terrified because like the only like interaction I'd had with Matt was like just being a fan of his and like like just watching his work in the ring and how incredible I thought he was and how big of a fan I was of him. So when he had messaged me and he gave me his phone number, I was just like, oh man, what if this like is it his real number or like what if I call him and like he's busy or like I was just very nervous. But I remember I went to the bathroom of the upstairs of my high school and I typed in his number and I heard his voice and I wish I could hear the call back now because I was probably so nervous. I was probably like, hello, is this Matt Tremont? Like I was just so nervous to get into wrestling. But yeah, and what a fun 7 years it's been. It's been awesome.
So when you called him, you were underage. You were like you were young. What did you say? How did the conversation go? Because I'm interested in that. Like you
Yeah.
must have been nervous.
How old? Yeah, I had to have been at least like 17. Yeah, so I was just like, hey, this is Sean from the Twitter message. I'd like to become a pro wrestler. I was probably just
Oh,
so nervous and skitzing out and like not knowing what to say. But yeah, I just told him that like I really appreciated him reaching out to me and that pro wrestling was always something that I was going to pursue anyway. So I really appreciated it. And he was like, yeah, come Thursday at like 7 o'clock. And I was there. I was there with 8 other people. So
Awesome.
So you were there, and then did you tell him that you had amateur experience?
He had actually known about that because
Oh.
he'd actually at one time Matt tweeted out like a best of luck thing to me because I was in districts like for
Oh,
wrestling, and he had saw that and he had said like, "Hey, best of luck with everything." So he definitely had an idea that I had like an athletic background in amateur wrestling.
districts means he made it to like the tournament of the region. That's like, not many people get there. Yes.
So walk us through your first day in for wrestling school, and this was before H2O. Not a lot of people realize. I think
Yeah,
show was
H2O wasn't even a thing. Yeah.
before H2O.
It was
How
before,
big
H2O hadn't had a match yet?
No, H2O is huge now, but this is like Sean was in there before it was H2O, right? Am I
Yeah,
correct?
On Point Wrestling was essentially the top.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
like, and it was weird because like the building when I first started training was the OTW building. Like they were already a school in of itself, and they produced a lot of great talent. Jimmy Lloyd, Steve Sanders, Ryan Radix, Dan Gallagher. There was a lot of really good talent there. But when I started training, they were already a school in of itself. Like On Point Wrestling was just running shows there, and H2O hadn't even been a thing. I think H2O started up the next summer. So yeah, H2O wasn't even a thing when I started training.
Oh. Do you remember who was in that class that you were in?
Yeah, I do know that Anthrax was one of the kids that was in the class. He had he I forgot what his situation was, but I know that he was there for like a couple classes after that, but then eventually he wasn't able to make the rest of the classes. So eventually it was just me. Like the original class of 9 that started like the first set of people that Matt was training, eventually just one by one they kind of started, not being around, and then eventually it was just me and Matt and Matt would just train me.
Wow.
And yeah. And then sometimes we'd have like guest trainers, like Cannonball would maybe come for something randomly. Chondo had a really big part in my training. Like it was really cool, like because that On Point crew of 2015, 2016 was a great crew. So I got to learn a lot from a lot of great people.
What makes the people quit? Like what do you I mean everyone's eager, they want to be in it, so it's a big jump to go to the school. What do you like, you stuck it out. You were amateur. I knew you'd make it.
Yeah.
What made them? What, they just didn't know what they were getting into? They're like, I didn't know. I didn't.
There was one girl that I think that's what happened to. Like, she took one, like Matt was like trying to teach bumps, like the so I think what happened was the one girl that was in the class, she tried taking a bump and hit her head, and I think that was kind of the wake up call that like wrestling's not, how do I put this? Wrestling's not like Total Divas where it's, it's all like I feel like she kind of had like the realization that like, oh, this shit hurts. Like this is not, like it's not a trampoline. Like you take a bump that you're gonna feel that shit. And I feel like for some people they realize like there's a lot more to pro wrestling than what meets the eye.
Yes. So wow, he was a sole survivor.
Yeah. So walk us through your first day there.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Were you nervous going in there? How was it? Did
it freeze? He froze up, not us.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you guys again.
So he said, ask him what he
if
said.
you could walk us through your first day at the school, were you nervous going into it?
Terrified out of my mind. Because I wasn't terrified in the way of like I didn't know if I was gonna be able to do it, because I actually had a CZW tryout the year prior, so I knew what I guess I knew like kind of physically like the idea of what it was gonna be like, but I was just so nervous because I knew that this was gonna be something I was gonna do full time, and like this was gonna be something that I was gonna do for years and years and years. So I was more so like mentally preparing myself.
Is he on?
No, I think.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, so you walk, so you go to the school, and now what's your mindset? You walk in there. There's a bunch of students. Had you met Matt before?
Yeah, absolutely. I met Matt a bunch of times actually, like at merch tables, like buying a shirt and stuff like that. But like this was like I would say this was like the first like getting into wrestling, like knowing Matt Tremont the person, that I
Yes.
was getting to like really make a first impression and like talk to him.
So you walk in there, and what do you do? What do they have you do in the ring?
He just got us in the ring, and like I remember we started with like some like just basic exercises like crunches and push-ups and jumping jacks, just little things like that that I was already accustomed to. And like around that same time I was still starting up in amateur wrestling for my high school. So it was just normal stuff that I was getting, you know, just doing for the opening warm up. And then it was like, all right, let's like try bumping. And like that didn't come naturally to me. It's not natural for anybody because you're reprogramming your body and your mind.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, if you're in your living room and you almost slip on a shoe, your first things to do is grab the coffee table or something to prevent yourself from falling or slipping.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
wrestling, you're reprogramming your body to just go with it. So like that didn't come easy, but other than that, I remember being very happy with how the first day went.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And then you kept coming back.
Every practice that was after that, I would, Matt would text me and I was there for every one of them. So yeah.
How often did you go a week?
It was every Thursday, every week, because
Oh,
OTW was still running classes in the building. Like they were still the prominent training going on in that building. So it was every Thursday of every week.
okay.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
Yeah. I think I met you when one of the first times I met you was when you were training. It was at one of Mike Hamilton's shows.
Oh, hybrid, yes.
Yeah, hybrid, and I think you were at a merch selling merch, or you were selling your stuff. I remember. It's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's a lot of fun. Those hybrid shows, going and meeting a lot of people for the first time. And I remember I reffed my first time ever reffing was at a hybrid show. So that's pretty
That's right.
awesome.
You ref one of the Human Tornadoes match, right?
Yeah, Human Tornado versus Pinky. That was awesome.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Yeah, they had some really good shows. They had some really good good matches. They brought in Zack Sabre Jr. to one time.
Yeah,
Right?
I think he worked AR Fox. It was really awesome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's so underrated. That company's so underrated.
I definitely got such a soft spot for him. I remember the last hybrid show that I was at, the card had like Matt Riddle versus Eddie Kingston and like really good cards, really good shows.
Yeah.
Again, up in Eddystone, PA.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you kept coming back. Yeah, I met you at the merch. I remember, you were paying your dues selling.
Oh yeah,
merch thing. I used to come up to you all the time, and remember I'd say hi to you, and then how's your training going? He would always be so like you could tell Matt trained him right, and he's a nice guy anyway.
Yeah,
he was always like, I'm really trying hard. I'm like, man, I couldn't. And I did see some of your early matches. I remember being out there, some of the outdoor shows and stuff like that, and it was fun to see you wrestle after just seeing you, like, because it took a while before your first match.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I had my first match June 9th, 2017, and I started training in November of 2015.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, that was like year and a half, later. So yeah, that's so true.
Wow.
So walk us through that first match we were just talking about. You and Tremont. Student versus teacher. I have that DVD somewhere signed by both of you guys.
Oh hell yeah! What a great, one of the best memories ever. Like I remember, it's just in theory, it's so crazy to think about because the match happened the week after my 19th birthday and the week before I graduated high school. So I remember, like, for years I told everybody like I was going to be a pro wrestler. Pro wrestling was what I was going to pursue, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. So Matt was very nice enough. He noticed all the hard work and the dues that I was, paying and all the hard work I was putting in. And he said, before you graduate, we're going to have a match together. And it happened. And I remember like selling tickets in the cafeteria, during lunch and like flyering. And like, it was such a awesome experience looking back on it. And like, just such an incredible night and experience just all around, just beautiful.
So how many people did you get to come?
A lot. Almost my entire like senior class came. Like there was a lot of people, family. Like that place was packed. That place was rabid. That was one of the best crowds I ever wrestled in front of. Like unreal, man. What a great time.
It was packed. It was
See,
packed.
that's a special thing because most of the time they're going to put you at the beginning of a show or a student, and you were like the main event on your first day.
Unreal. What a crazy
That never happened.
experience. Never. Like, that's such a, I really am truly lucky. Truly lucky.
So leading up to days leading up to that match, were you nervous?
Out of my mind. I don't even think I slept like the 2 days before the match. I remember before I went out, I was so terrified that I almost said, like, I can't do this. I don't know if I can do this. But obviously you're like, it's about to happen. Like, you got to go out and do it. So like it happened, and like it was a literal movie. I remember visually, like as soon as that bell rung, looking at Matt, and everything slowed down, and it was, I can't even put into words because like it was so unreal. And like I just like thinking about it and remembering it now is it's so weird to think about.
That's weird because the fans were sitting there watching it like they're watching any other match.
Yeah.
Matt Tremont is like, it's just another day at the office for him. But you were the center of the universe there.
Yes, literally the weight of the world. It was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. It was incredible.
If right before your match the lights would have gone out and they would have had to cancel the rest of the show for some reason, you'd have been like, oh, okay, oh, yeah.
I know, immediately wipe the sweat off my brow. I would have been so relieved, but like one of the happiest nights of my life. Like, seriously, thank you to Matt Tremont for that. That's something I'll never ever forget as long as I live. Like, just unreal. What an incredible experience.
Wow, that's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I said, the house was packed. You guys killed the main event.
Thank you.
But he did a really good promo afterward too, right?
Oh yeah, because I just, life is so precious and beautiful, and like just that's the thing that I always try to be. Always try to be thankful, because like you never know what to expect in life, and that was just such a beautiful night, and so many people that helped make it possible. So
wow. That's probably the biggest event in your life. Like, you'll never forget that day. Right?
Never. Like, it was just such a beautiful experience. I'm just thinking about it right now. It makes me so happy to think about like how happy I was and how happy it made me to be surrounded by so many people that cared. It was awesome.
That was early on in what was that, 2017?
Yeah, June 9th, 2017.
God, it seems like just yesterday he was working a merch stand. I was just coming up.
Yeah, that was H2O's 1-year anniversary show too. That was their first ever anniversary show.
That's right. Wow, time flies. Were you at the first show?
Yes. That was the day before TOD 2016. That was in Woodbury.
That's right.
That was a great show too. That was really fun. Eddie Kingston wrestled Shane Douglas.
That's right. Eddie Kingston. Matt wrestled the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan.
That was awesome.
That was a really, really good show. Underrated too. It sucks we never got that Joey Janela Thunder Rosa match.
I know, that is so. I have the original poster
from
that show, and it's on there. And I just always think like, man, like that would have been one of the craziest intergender matches ever. Janela and Thunder Rosa.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they were both hurt that show.
Yeah, because Joey'd come off the roof with Zandig like a week or so prior. That was awesome.
That was crazy, man. That was something. Yeah. So it was good. So he kind of became your. I liked it. He became your mentor almost, and you must have like absorbed everything Matt Tremont did because he had so many years in the business. Yeah. And were you like a sponge learning little things? Like, oh yeah, and like it helped you, later, but like it just because I mean you learned so much about wrestling being around a guy like that. You weren't just showing up for the practice and leaving. You were really hands on at all the shows.
Oh, absolutely. Just listening to certain things. Like I also like to watch and observe things, and like always trying to learn, surroundings or how people do certain things or how certain things make certain things happen. Like always trying to learn everything I can in wrestling. You never stop learning in wrestling. Never. Never. No.
You did the handshake everybody type of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I've been in places like I'm like the guy comes out, the guy races over to you like, and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, thank you, buddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, got it, man. Wrestling. what is it?
They still
Wrestling
do that?
etiquette 101. Absolutely.
So that's the etiquette. Do you find does everybody do that, or did some not, or some?
I would say a little bit has calmed down since after the pandemic, because
Okay.
sometimes people don't know if you want a handshake or fist bump, or because after the pandemic, everyone's like kind of, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
for the majority, a lot of people still do it. Absolutely.
Do you do the light handshake, or do you? Isn't there like
Oh,
a?
I always try to do full handshakes so that people know that you know, I'm not like a little weak claw handshake, like try to make people feel like jabroni. I always try to give real proper handshake, just, you know.
Because some guys have said that it's something about, I don't know, somebody told you they work light or something. There's some like thing about
Yes, I've heard that too. Actually, that's
like,
a
yeah,
that's
you
a
know, like
big,
they go like no, like
the
it,
little-
like that, like yeah,
yeah, like the little worker handshake. Yeah, I know
yeah, yeah,
exactly
yeah.
what you mean. Yeah.
Huh? The older guys do that, right?
Yeah, that was a big thing for years. That was the phrase that was coined for it, was worker handshake, because that was their way of letting you know that they work light and that they're not gonna grip you up and squeeze you or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost like an insult, like, oh yeah, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it was like
Which,
a
by the way, I don't do that. I don't. I've never hurt anyone in the ring, so everyone knows that I just like to give a nice, proper, firm handshake.
But you know what? It's funny that, and we talked to different guys about this. Some guys don't know an etiquette thing, and it's not their fault. They might not know about it, and they could get heat in the like, who's this guy? Chicken, you know, like, and you're like, oh, I didn't do nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And
So
it's just,
I almost feel
yeah,
bad. And you know how some of the guys are kind of like, you know, this guy don't know what he's doing in here. What's he doing in the draw? You know what I mean? They could be very offended by like, and you know, this guy is disrespect. You can disrespect the business, and you don't even know you're disrespecting the business.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that Tremont sits there, like, oh, nobody was sitting there. Yeah, you should know that.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. There's a lot of little things like that go into wrestling. Like, you never know what could or couldn't get you heat. So I always try to stay the course and not bother anybody and try to, you know, fly under the radar, you know, for sure.
Right. Like the vet, like what you tell them about the veterans thing?
What's that?
In the locker room,
Which one?
you're not supposed to bother them.
You're not supposed to bother the veterans?
Like when Shane Douglas comes in or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. With training wise, you know, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to mark out for anyone.
Yeah, of course, of course. Like, but like the fortunate thing about H2O is like all the vets that like, I guess were like the big names, like, because Shane Douglas and Kevin Sullivan and those guys, they would come in the locker room and like they would want you to like talk to them. They would want you to want to learn things from them. Like,
Really?
yeah, absolutely. Like Shane Douglas is probably, I think he's probably the best example of someone that like he'll talk. Like, me and Shane Douglas have only interacted like a couple times, and
Yeah.
every time that I've like said hi to him, like he'll want you to talk to him and want you to learn from him and want you to like have like Shane Douglas is perfect. Like Shane Douglas is such a great example of like super nice guy. He's done everything. He's wrestled for everybody. So like he's a great example of like someone that like wants you to learn from him and wants you to have him open up and talk to you about things. So like I was lucky with H2O. There were so many good vets that were around that you can learn from and talk to. Like Shane Douglas, as I mentioned, Kevin Sullivan, awesome.
Oh.
Like so many good ones. So many good ones.
You know, because probably because you guys run a serious organization there, and it's not some little fly by night guy. I'm putting on a show. Can you come in? And they probably treat your organization and Tremont and everybody differently than showing up down in somewhere and a bunch of goofballs that aren't that good.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So yeah, all right. So you got to feel the veteran out before you start.
Yeah, of course. Like, I would never walk up to like Shane Douglas and be like, "What you did in 1995 was super cool," and blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, I like to do that with everybody. I always like to feel people out, you know, because like just like what I was saying, like with handshakes and stuff like that. Like, I'll always get a vibe for somebody when I'm saying hi to them before I go in for a fist bump or a handshake or a hug or whatever. I always like to let people be comfortable. Like, I don't ever want to cram in on someone's space or anything.
Right. So that's what other etiquette. So I'm always curious about the training and the etiquette thing because like see, like in a dressing room, or do like veterans sit some like this? How does that work?
Yeah, so like it's not so
You got to give a
once
chair to
again.
like Necro Butcher come in. He gets the chair.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like it does depend on the locker room. Like
Yeah.
for example, like in the H2O locker room, there's a chair next to the back door where Louis sits. You know, that's Louis' seat. Like, and he's
Okay.
definitely earned it because Louis wrestled longer than I've been alive. Like there like certain things like that. Like you always make sure that Scorpio gets his chair next to the office door. Like little things like that for sure, 100%. But I always, once again, as I said earlier, I always try to feel out a locker room before I ever put my stuff down or like I pick a seat or whatever. I always like to feel things out first.
So if you go to another area, IWA or somewhere like that, how do you know where to put like? Yeah, how do you know where to put this? Like, how do you know not to step on toes and disrespect, or do you like? How do you know? Like,
I usually will wait for people to pick their seats, and whatever is left is what I'll take. Or I'll even find like spots in the locker room where there isn't a chair, just so that I can put myself maybe in like a little crevice, so that way, because that way you're not in anyone's way, and no one can say, "Oh, you're in my spot." Like little things like that that I'll do to make sure, like once again, I fly under the radar. No one's gonna get upset with me, you know, for anything, any little silly reason like that.
yeah. Matt Tremont told you that? Or did you?
He definitely taught me a lot of etiquette. Just those
Okay.
little weird things are like things that I always think about in my head of like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, all right.
yeah.
What about the no sleeping? Well, I heard that you're not supposed to sleep if somebody's driving at night or something. Is that still around, that one? Or
A little bit actually. You're fine if like the guy has like someone else to talk to while everyone else sleeps.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Razor Wing recently drove me and a couple other people like to ISW in Connecticut, and he's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, you know, he let people sleep, but certain people will do certain things to keep themselves awake, like play a podcast or music or whatever. So like the rules kind of like on and off. It depends on who you get, really.
Etiquette, yeah, etiquette. Because etiquette will get you in trouble if you
Okay.
don't know what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
And you don't even know you're doing it. You're like, I fell asleep. What? They
Yeah,
or
right. Yeah, it's true.
the ribbing and things like that.
Yeah.
Are you a ribber? You're not a ribber, are you?
I personally am not a ribber, no.
You've been ribbed?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I can
But
tell.
I'm always a good sport about it. Like I never like, oh, what the come on, like, you know, always a good sport about it, 100%.
You know what I would do if I was I'm like, okay, if you rib, go ahead and rib me. I will get you 10 times worse when you least expect it. And
Oh,
like,
yeah,
all right,
100%.
yeah, don't rib him. I don't want to rib him and then wonder for the rest of my life what this guy's gonna do to me. Like,
See, that's
super
even worse. That's even worse than getting like your shoes glued to the floor or something like that. Like the fear of when are they gonna strike on me?
yeah, leave you on the highway or something crazy. Yeah, you don't do that. Now I don't like rib. I don't want to rib. I'm a prankster, but not like I don't want to get
never rib.
because I've heard some of the old stories. They've left guys on the road. They've taken all their like stories that would make you can't even get to the next show because they got your stuff.
Yeah, I've heard some absurd ones as well. Like I've heard stories of people feeding pets to each other and like just crazy shit like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
yeah.
Some crazy
We
stuff.
start the school. So
So with CZW,
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
You had a match at CZW at the Lyle show.
Yes.
How was that? What was like going into that?
Oh man, that was a crazy time because that was just such a whirlwind. Like I remember, like oh man, Lyle, like he's genuinely just one of the absolute best people that will ever be in wrestling ever. Just one of the most genuine, kind.
nice guy.
Just I can't even put into words just how unbelievable Lyle was. Like and like his passing was it hit hard. It hit really hard. Like I remember like that was and anything that had to do with Lyle that we could do to support him or be there for his family, I was all about it. And when I found out that H2O was going to be a part of the Lyle C. Williams Memorial Show, I never asked for anything ever because wrestling doesn't owe anybody anything. But I do remember saying, Matt, like, please, I would love to be in the H2O spotlight match for Lyle show. Like, that would mean more to me than anything. Not to be on a CZW show or for the, being on, like, none of that.
Yeah.
All for him and his family was what was important. And I fucking love our match. That 5-way was awesome.
Yeah.
Super happy with how it went. I was just so happy with that whole experience was just awesome. Super sick.
Yeah, I was at that show. Yeah.
Lyle's family is amazing too. They're awesome. Great people.
Great archive of pictures that he took. He takes pictures forever.
Yeah. Unreal work.
For a while. Sheesh. So speaking of CZW, what was your favorite what were your favorite wrestlers growing up from CZW?
Oh man. It's weird. I'm gonna go through decade of like era of CZW. Obviously that early era of CZW, I loved Messiah, big Messiah guy, Zandig. I was a huge Zandig guy. Ruckus, JC Bailey, Sanjay Dutt. And then like as we got kind of later into like DJ era, I loved Adam Cole, big Masada guy, Scotty Vortex, Drake Younger, Danny Havoc, obviously the greatest of all time. Tremont, Speedball, Dickinson. Like, I just loved CZW. Like, what an unreal product. Like, I was such a massive CZW fan. Like, if it wasn't for CZW, I probably wouldn't have been inspired to get into wrestling or fallen in love with indie wrestling the way that I did.
I know you use a lot of guys at your shows. What guy from current day you think would fit best in, like, say 2002, 2003 CZW?
That's a great. That is an awesome question.
Yeah, what current guy?
I'm gonna say, I would say the top two would be Dylan McKay, Matt DeMorris, because CZW 2002, 2003, 2004, there's so much incredibly innovative stuff that they do move-wise and sequence-wise. I think Matt DeMorris and Dylan McKay would have been unreal, like, especially for the junior heavyweight division and like the Iron Man title division. Like, I think those two would have been the perfect two to go to CZW early 2000s, especially in Best of the Best and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Oren Veit would be perfect. I love.
Dude, Oren Veit would have been a multi-time TOD winner probably, just like Wife Beater and shit. I think Oren Veit in CZW early 2000s would have been incredible.
So you mentioned Wife Beater. Do you know like how far back in the history of CZW are you interested in? Like, I was there. I went to my first show in '99.
Yes.
With Blade, Zandig, Lobo, Justice Pain, all the
TCK,
original,
yeah.
That
TCK?
Was
a lot of the early CZW guys like TCK and stuff.
Yeah. He was there. Yeah, I've seen him wrestle. They had thing about CZW is kind of like the H2O. Like, they had their core lineup of people.
Yeah.
That started out like the core lineup, and then it brand. It's a little different now, but back then, if you were with CZW, you were almost just with CZW.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Exclusive.
Exclusive. Yeah. And then it branched out of New Jersey to Philadelphia. You picked it up in 2000. Like, well, you're younger. You're so young. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to let you know the history of indie wrestling. That's what I like about
it. Absolutely. Oh, dude, a big indie guy, 100%.
That's what I think. 2002, 2003 CZW so awesome. I was a big fan. But
it still holds up.
Yeah. You couldn't see like a Wife Beater or a Zandig at any other show. It was just CZW. You know. Now you see, everyone exchanging everything. But I mean, I don't think we'll ever get like that exclusiveness back.
Yeah, right. I totally agree. Totally agreed.
But it's good now you get to see more people, because you wouldn't see these guys unless you lived in Philly, or if you lived in IWA territory that It was almost like a territory. Almost, it's kind of like
It was. It
it's
really
like a
was
territory.
kind of like the last of the territories in many ways. Like IWA Mid South, like you would see like Necro Butcher, Corporal Robinson, Nate Webb, and CZW. You'd only see Zandig and Ruckus and Wife Beater, and
Yeah.
like yeah, it's such a perfect way of putting it. Absolutely.
They and there was a tape traders and people, but you really didn't know about people till when they had when they started coming over, like this IWA guys came over. When Necro first came to CZW, everybody was like, they knew him, and he's like, he didn't expect everybody to know him. He told me, he says, how does everybody know me? I'm like, everybody here is a tape guy. They buy
Smart Mark Video, baby.
They know you. We know you. He's like, oh, he didn't know that they know him.
How incredible is that? Smart Mark Video, it does wonders.
Now it's IWTV. So
Yeah.
you guys are with IWTV, doesn't matter how many fans in there, that thing is international. There's people in Japan that know Sean Henderson.
It's wild. It's so crazy. Like people
know.
send me pictures of like Japan crowds about to enter for shows, and they're like, look at this guy's shirt, and I'll see a Sean Henderson shirt, and I'm like, what? Like that's amazing. Like so awesome.
Wow, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
So wait, so you hear from now? Okay, so I'm talking worldwide here. Now you hear from fans or and from all over the world. Have you had? I mean, they're watching IWTV because your show, anything affiliated with H2O, your show, it's kind of like must see. Like I got to see the ICW, I got to see your shows, and I got to see the H2O. I'm behind in the H2O shows. You've been putting out so many. So no, there's and then the Zone 20. I got like 5 or 6 that I got to watch.
Oh,
the others. So you guys is probably some of the most highest viewed by the deathmatch fans and the you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you're getting any feedback? Anybody ever been contacted for merch or anything from all over the world, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually had the majority was at least that I've had Japanese wrestling fans, which is so awesome, so sick, like so cool because I've loved Japanese wrestling for so many years, like so that's really cool. That's sick.
You don't have the Japanese the artists make you a shirt yet, huh?
I have to. I definitely have to get Say to make at least one SHP themed event shirt or something like that. Gotta, because I love Say's work. Work's incredible.
It's the rite of passage for an indie guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't have that, it's like the stamp of approval. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's back up. Yeah, let's back up a little. So you started off. You had a great debut with Matrimony. You did H2O. What got you? What motivated you to start your own promotion?
I would say just like it's hard to say that. Like I would say just seeing how incredible indie wrestling was getting around that 2018 2019 time period, like how everybody was just killing it. H2O, GCW, PWG, AIW, like just seeing everybody putting out such great wrestling product. I was just like, I want to see for myself, like just to see how I would do, just to see if I enjoy it, if it was successful. And I was like, I want to try this. I want to try my hand at promoting and booking, and ever since then I've just had such an incredible time and like just enjoyed every second of it, and seeing how many people enjoy it and how many people it's helped. It's been awesome. It's been really, really awesome.
Wow.
What was your first what was your first main event? I can't remember. I believe I was there for it. Your first show.
Oh, my first show. I actually did a little test run show. When was it? It was like June of 2019. It was like a couple weeks before TOD, and I did that. But my first real show, my first like real SHP show, was February 2020, and the main event of that was Cody Rice and Lowlife Louie versus Devin Moore and Drew Blood.
Oh, I remember that match. Yeah, that was a good match. Yeah. Wow. Now you promoting. Now it's kind of funny because you're promoting guys. You're kind of like their boss of guys that you like looked up to,
Yeah.
and you were like, "Who's this guy?" Now you're like, it's kind of like, I bought the team, and now I'm the
Yeah,
coach.
literally. It's incredible
So,
how life
did
works
you
like
get?
that.
Did they treat you a little differently, or I mean, you have to
No,
make.
no. Everyone that's in SHP are all people that are good people in the ring and out of the ring, professionals in every sense of the way
Oh,
they do. Like, I've been around a lot of really good veterans that have done SHP, like Two Cold Scorpio, Shannon Moore, George South, a lot of really great
yeah,
veterans and like legends of the ring. So like, I've been super lucky with my interactions with a lot of veterans and people who've done SHP for sure.
yeah. Those two Cold Scorpio matches, when he comes in, he goes hard.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
he does. He does. He's had so many
he's not
incredible
just calling
SHP
it in like a
matches.
veteran getting a paycheck. So, no, he is. He's like, it's almost like IWTV. You got to do good because everyone's going to see it and be like, oh well, yeah, he don't do nothing. It makes
Yeah.
the veterans work harder because they're being shown. It's almost like an advertisement. Bring this guy in. He goes hard.
Yeah. And like that was something that I was so happy with. Like when Scorpio first did SHP, like when he killed it with Connor Claxton, Two Gold Scorpio is one of the greatest to ever do it ever. Like everyone knows that. It just made me so happy though, because after that match, like everyone started using Scorpio again. And it made me so happy. Like GCW and VXS and like so many other indies started booking him again. And I was just so happy to see how that all worked for him. Like it was awesome.
I got a funny, since you like Scorpio, we all like Scorpio. I've always had a fascination of North Korea, right?
Yes.
No, really, because it's the only communist country that you can't go and leave, and you know, I don't know if you know about it. It's a very communist, secluded country. You there?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I've always been amazed by it, right?
Yeah.
And I never spoke to somebody. He wrestled in that big show in North Korea in like 90 something, right?
Yeah, wrestled Chris Benoit.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So I would always come up to him and ask him questions about North Korea. It wouldn't even have nothing to do with the wrestling that much. Just like, what was it like being there? What did it? And he's telling me about it. And then I'd see him again at the show, and I'm like, what? Because I was fascinated talking to somebody. I'm weird. Yeah. I was fascinated talking to somebody about North Korea who'd been there, right? So one time he said, you know what? You're the only guy that's ever asked me about North Korea. I said, and I'm like, yeah. I said, then years later, they do a documentary about it.
Yeah.
I think they used him on the interview, right? Didn't they use him on the Dark Side of the Ring?
He was one of the big guest stars on that episode. It was like him, Scott Norton. I'm trying to think who else was. Yeah, but no, he was definitely featured heavy on that episode.
Right. So he's probably thought, man, they finally, other than that guy that kept asking me about North Korea, because I was like, what did they do to you? Like, what did they, were you allowed to use the phone? Was it weird? And he told me, I think he told me this. He said that Eric Bischoff got out of the room early and was jogging down the street or something.
Yeah, and that was man, they were not happy about that. I remember.
Yeah, right. I knew about that way back because he had told me that.
Yeah.
They didn't know it. I'm like, really? And that even fascinated me. I like to absorb information and facts. And I'm like, I just can't. I'm picturing Eric Bischoff jogging down the road in North Korea. And people are like, who is this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they had looks of horror on their face, like, what is this? What is this dude doing? Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Sorry, we're having
All
trouble.
good.
It's gonna. He knows how to edit it and put together good. It looks good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We're talking about North Korea, how unique and
crazy.
Crazy.
So he was crazy, and I was absorbing stuff. But I'll tell you what, he must have said to himself, he never thought of North Korea. And then he's like, oh, they really want to do a show about it? Yeah. So now he probably said, Wow, there is interest in it, other than that guy that kept asking him about like North Korea and stuff.
How awesome is that?
Right, that was crazy.
But
He was
back
good.
on SHP, I love how you put together like awesome matches that like you know what I mean.
Thank you. Huge thank you.
Definitely you know what I mean you got use you don't use the H2O guys, you know what I mean, you bring in GCW guys against H2O guys, you bring Orenbite against you know,
Yeah,
awesome,
absolutely. And thank you for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, they were
awesome
good.
stuff. And I love how you merchandise like your posters and all that new stuff you've been putting out. It's great, man.
Thank you so much. And thank you for just the kind words about SHP. Like, means the world hearing that. So thank you.
No, I watch them. I watch it.
And you got two awesome shows coming up back to back, right?
Yeah, I'm beyond excited, especially for December. Got two of them. Friday, December 2nd, which is in, by the time this will probably come out, maybe already happened, but as of recording, that'll be Friday, so one more night, and then Sunday, December 18th at 3 p.m. for SHP Great Expectations. So I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
Check them out.
One's a 2 o'clock show, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be Sunday, December 18th. That'll be SHP Great Expectations. That card's crazy. I Quit match, Colby Carino, Matt Tremont, Speedball Mike Bailey versus Connor Claxton. A lot of really good stuff. I'm excited.
Okay, yeah. I remember Speedball. I remember him when he first came. He's from Canada.
Yeah, Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Montreal, you guys wrestled. I was looking at your lineup. Rep matches, and you wrestled in Connecticut last week. I saw the whole crew went up there.
Yeah.
And actually, it was so. What was that show about? That was a kind of off the wall place to be up there.
Yeah, one of my favorite wrestling companies in the world, Interspecies Wrestling. My third food fight, and in this one, this was something that I found very, very awesome. Was the first time I'd ever been in the ring with Sexy Eddie, so that was super, super awesome, man. Finally got to be in the ring with Sexy Eddie. I was super happy about it.
Wow. Okay, he came down from Montreal, or was he already here?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he came down with everybody, like down to East Haven, Connecticcut. So how sick is that?
Oh, that's not too far. They go right down. They drive straight down. It's not as far
Yep,
as you think.
absolutely.
Who else from Canada came?
Cecil Nix, a really, really good guy, McCrae Martin, who everybody should be keeping their eye on. This dude is really good. Him and Marcus Mathers tore it up. There was a lot of really good Canadian talent on the show. I can't say enough good words about McCrae Martin. Actually, he's definitely someone to keep your eye out on for sure.
Okay. Sexy Eddie is like a holdover from the original Canadians that came down for CZW.
Yes.
And they were Arsenal, Phantom,
Generico.
Right, and the three of them were on the Tournament of Death. Then they started bringing all these, Generico, Kevin Steen, all those guys. Who's the big dude?
Frankie the Mobster.
Frankie the Mobster. And they used to tear it up in CZW.
Yeah.
They even ran an IWS. IWS ran a show of a doubleheader with CZW one time.
Yeah, that was the same day Eddie wrestled Ruckus for the title in the cage. I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
Eddie is a character. You like Eddie, huh?
I love Sexy Eddie. Literally one of my favorite people in wrestling, out of wrestling, just a legend in every sense of the word. I got to get Sexy Eddie to SHP, man. What an absolute icon in every sense of the word.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Maybe if he's like in a doubleheader, like get some more matches around the area, make it work, come down. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
He's still going hard, man. After all these years, he's something.
Looks great too. Looks amazing.
Yeah. God.
Speaking of IWS, you had you had a world title match with him against Tremont, correct?
Yes, yeah, that was incredible too. 2019 was very likely my best year in wrestling, and this year, I separated my shoulder, so I only had like about 3 matches, but 2023 I want to get right back to where I was in 2019. And but anyway, onto the subject for the ISW title match with Tremont. That was awesome. That was one of my favorite matches I ever had. Incredible. ISW Fight of the Living Dead, which is on IWTV in case you want to check it out. Me and Matt Tremont had one of the most wild King of Crazy title matches ever in ISW history, and I'm super proud of that match. That match was incredible.
That's awesome. Was that the second time you wrestled him?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Me and Tremont have only had 2 singles matches together. That was an awesome match. Legos, doors, trash can lids, chairs. We went in, man. That was a great match. I love that match.
You guys went all out. You guys
Oh,
definitely
hell
went
yeah.
all out.
He does everything. You do a little bit of everything. You can do comedy, you do street fighting. I mean, you don't do death match, but you do like old school wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a hybrid style of all the guys
Yeah,
that,
I like that.
I grew up loving, The
He
JC
did
Baileys, the Nate Webbs, yeah, absolutely.
you did an angle with Atticus Cohen recently. Well, not recently, but in the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that? How'd that come about with the H20 versus 440?
Oh
Yeah, I actually got to work Atticus twice. I love the first match. He's very good. He's really good in the ring. I wish there was a lot more that we could have done with the angle. Things didn't work out, but it's one of those things in wrestling where there's always another day. I highly doubt that me and Atticus won't do something in the future. Especially now that he's doing his own thing with his company. So yeah, I enjoyed having the first match with him and just having a wrestling match with him because he's very good. He's very good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have him at SHP. Him and Jimmy Lloyd should be really good. So
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
How was taking the skewers? Like, what was going through your mind?
you know what's so weird about skewers, and I don't know if I'm the only person that's had this experience. They hurt when they porcupine out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're
Like,
stretching the skin.
Yeah, for some reason.
Putting pressure.
Yeah. I guess because it's absorbing the surface that it's in, so it just starts to swell up. But that was kind of the only rough part about it, really.
What about these puppies?
Oh, dude, never, man. Those things. Oh my gosh, man. I've poked them before and that shit hurt. I couldn't imagine taking one to the dome or the back or the arm.
Well, you know what? Out of respect for hardcore wrestling, somebody at this table is going to take a gusset plate.
Oh my gosh, no way.
We need hits on this channel. Valencia Society is not getting the hits. So I'm going to do something outrageous that will get us hits. Somebody at this table is going to take a gusset plate.
Oh man.
Gorby.
There we go.
Our mascot Gorby's taking one for the team.
Gorby's hardcore.
Gorby's
hardcore. Gorby's hardcore.
Hey, look, this gusset plate ain't falling off. It's stuck in there.
I was about to say that's some real commitment. I love it.
These gusset plates. All right, I'm going to give you a guess. How many spikes do you think is in that gusset plate?
I'll go with 50.
136.
Whew. No, thank you.
There's a row of 12. There's a row of 12 one way, 12 the other way, with a little gap in the middle, -8. I counted them.
Yeah.
That's third. I don't know how those guys do it.
Same. That makes 2 of us.
We did an interview with Raven Havoc, and his T-shirt that he sells from the Japanese guy has a gusset plate. He's got pictures on his Instagram where he took 5 to the back. I don't know how they do it. I just
That's
can't.
a whole lot of no thank you, man. He can keep all that because I'm good. I'll pass on the gusset plates, my friend.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know how they do it. But I like all kinds of wrestling. I like a show
same.
put on a little bit of everything. You know what I mean?
That's my favorite part about SHP is that it's the buffet table of wrestling. I love that for SHP. I offer comedy, deathmatch, lucha, high flying, strong style. Just give something for everybody.
Yeah, and I like that because I like all styles, but sometimes I'm in the mood for a little bit of fun and games. I don't want all the fun and games, but I do. If the comedy's done good, I like it. Certain guys can really do the comedy good. It's funny. Yeah, it's
entertaining. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How was your you had a match with Chris Dickinson early on in your career, right?
Yes, yeah, I did. That's one of my favorite matches ever. That match was awesome. That might have been the most nervous I ever was in pro wrestling.
Oh.
I was I was very, very nervous because he was someone that I looked up to for so many years, and I wanted to deliver, and I think I did. I think I did. I thought we had an awesome match together. I love that match. That match was incredible. I loved it.
That's awesome. Do the veterans, when you have a match with like a veteran, what do they say after the match? Like, do they?
Yeah, they'll give you tips on like what they liked and maybe what you could have done a little bit better, or maybe here, like fight up a little more. Like Dickinson was super happy. He gave me some really good advice, really good advice. I remember his thing that he told me was like, you got to hit harder. You got to hit harder. And I'm like,
oh, okay.
And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, dude, I'm not going to hit Chris Dickinson any harder. I don't want him to, because Dickinson will blast people. And I'm like, I don't want this dude to kick my head off my shoulders. So I'm going to keep it right where it's at, my friend.
This guy. Matt taught you well, my buddy.
Thank you.
I can tell. Did you ever, did it seem funny? How'd you feel when you had your first match somewhere without Matt Tremont around?
It was definitely odd. It was definitely an odd feeling, but I was super happy with it. Like I felt great about myself, like because it just kind of proved to me, like I can do this. Like I do know what I'm doing. Like it definitely was rewarding. Rewarding in that sense.
But it felt a little different because you were such.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're so used to familiar faces in the locker room and they're not there, and you're like, it's definitely an odd feeling, but a very rewarding feeling.
Oh, okay. Well, explain different locker. Like you got your home school locker room, the H2O. You walk in and out like you have to play. But like when you go somewhere else and you don't know less people, not many people.
Yeah.
Is it like you get a little nervous, or do you get a different feeling from?
I'm just a very nervous person.
Yeah,
so like I definitely get nervous for that for sure. But I always try to, be optimistic and positive and outgoing to everybody. So like, fortunately, it's never really too uncomfortable, but definitely like, you definitely think a little more than you usually would for sure.
Okay.
Talk about vets, and I know Danny Havoc was one of your best friends.
Yes.
He did a lot for you. You guys are friends. What's your favorite memory with Danny?
Man, oh my gosh, there's a million. There's so many good ones because one of the best gifts that like he had that he could do for so many people was no matter what you were doing with him or where you were, like you just couldn't help but love the time that you had with him. Like it didn't matter where we were. It could have been the local pizza shop that was a block away from our house.
No, did we lose you?
Not us. Maybe him. Hey. There he is. We lost you. You was talking about you went to the local pizza shop.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, the best part about being with him was that no matter what it was or where you were at, you couldn't help but love the time around you. And because it literally didn't matter what we were doing. Like, we could have been driving or, like, at a pizza shop or whatever. But you couldn't help but love what you're doing because he would make you laugh so hard. You'd enjoy yourself so much. Like he would make me laugh so hard that I actually could not physically breathe. I would have to stand up and try to let the oxygen flow because I was laughing so hard. Like it just everything. Like one thing that I like, I guess I can kind of key on a little bit was I was filming these vignettes of when he was going to manage me for a match at H2O on one of the women's H2O shows. And like, I just remember having so much fun with them, like watching The Notebook or like we were doing all these weird, funny, silly gimmicks, like for the, like getting into the mind of a woman for me to wrestle a woman. Like it was just so much fun. And like, he was so hilarious in everything he did. He was the best. He really was the best.
He came up with the storylines, that stuff.
He did. That was all his idea. Every one of those segments and gimmicks he came up with, and he was such a genius when it comes to little things about comedy. Like, he was so good, so good.
Yeah, he had a dry, like a sense of humor where he'd say something, and it would be funny. You know, I'm talking the way he.
Yes.
It's hard to explain, but
But if you knew him, you knew exactly what. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I remember he did a thing with Luke. He went up to Wisconsin. They did a big show in. You ever heard of Destruction in Door County?
Yes, that was the Luke Hadley thing.
Yeah, yeah. He came out on a horse.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So like a pulled horse, like some horse was pulling a wagon or something.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I think it was a donkey, wasn't it?
Yeah, a donkey. Yeah. That was.
He wrestled Drake, right?
Yeah, I think he wrestled Drake. Yeah, I'll put that together with Luke Hadley.
That's awesome.
Luke put that match on. He promoted it with his another guy, and they brought in Dylan Necro, Scotty Vortex, Danny Havoc flew in, and I remember Luke didn't really know these guys that much, and he went and picked Luke. Luke picked. I actually drove Vortex, Diehard, and Drake from Milwaukee up to the show, and awesome. They did a radio interview, right? And then Billy Graham was a manager, brought all these guys, and then he went and picked up Toby and Danny Havoc from the airport in Green Bay, and Danny really didn't even know him. And I'm like, hey man, everything went good. And he goes, well, it's a little weird. A guy filming me walking down the off the plane or something like that. Like, they had his camera on him, but yeah. And then when before he passed, it was terrible. I mean, it's so upsetting. Luke wrestled Schlack on a JCW show. I don't know if you were there.
Yes, the Backyard Show.
Were you there?
I remember watching the Backyard Show. I was not there, but I do remember watching it.
Yeah. Well, that very next day, because Luke's friends with him, did a lot of stuff with him. We met at a pizza place in New Jersey, and his wife, the blonde girl, were there, and we just ate some food. And he was really good. He was talking. He was telling how he met his wife, and then tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Brienne was amazing too. She was actually one of my teachers in high school. She was awesome.
Oh, his wife?
Yeah, Brienne Morrow. Yeah, she was incredible. She was a beautiful human being. She was awesome.
Danny Havoc's wife was his teacher in high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, how cool is that?
She was, it was funny. Since we're just talking about Danny. So Danny was, I met when Luke wrestled GCW, we met Danny over here in a pizza place or something, and he brought his new wife. And we were talking. I'm like, how did you meet him? Because it's weird when relationships in wrestling, right?
Yeah, right.
Like, did you go to wrestling? She said there's some kind of story where he got into a car accident or something.
Yes, yeah.
And she pulled over to help him, and she gave him a ride home or something, and then
so awesome.
She liked him. It had nothing to do with wrestling. She didn't even know anything about it.
Yeah.
And then, he told us that story. Like, yeah, that's really weird. You know that story, right?
That's awesome.
That's a great story. That's a great. I remember him telling me about that. And I thought it's like, what a perfect way of like getting together through the miracle of a car accident.
Yeah. She gave him a ride home. He wrecked the car, and I don't know. And she ended up like being a witness or something. I don't know what it was. She ended up giving him a ride home, and then they dated, and then
how life works sometimes, right?
And he got married. Yeah, that's crazy. He was a good guy.
Yeah. How awesome is that?
I always wanted him to win the CZW title.
Oh, same.
And I said when I guess Devin Moore wrestled him in like a ladder match, right? Yeah. And I said, you know what? Why did you just go up there and take that belt? You'd be champion. So you didn't even have to. The referee didn't even have to be in on it. You just go there, grab the belt, and you're champion. You know what I mean?
Eventually, that's perfect.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah,
good time.
I know. Lost so many friends, brain damage, all those guys. Man,
all the best people too. All the best people.
They were good guys.
Yeah.
Indy, the hardcore guys. Some of them they do crazy things, but they're so nice. They're very like mild mannered.
Brain damage.
Brain damage. Did you ever make brain damage?
I wish he's one of the few people that I never got to meet that I always wanted to meet in wrestling. He was an icon, man. What a legend he was.
Oh, you've seen his match against Matt Tremont at the arena, right? On tape.
That was the first CZW show I ever attended live.
Really?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
wow. God.
That was a Friday show too.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Friday, October 7th, 2011.
Wow. God, it
Yeah.
seems like just
Wow.
yesterday.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Right?
He was really
I
good.
think I might have went to with Bradley with Baldini to that show.
That's so awesome. That's so sick.
Uh, that's and most of the guys were overseas, I believe, for a tour, right?
Yeah, Germany and England, I'm pretty sure it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, they were overseas, so,
Oh, okay.
so it was like still a good show though. Still a
Yeah,
good show. Oh man. So how was how's it like wrestling? You wrestled Notorious Mimi, right?
I did. That was last year, and that was a great match. That was another match I was super happy with, and super happy for her. Like, getting to go to NXT, and now she's back on the Indies, and she's really good. I really enjoyed working with her, and I really liked that match. That was a really fun match.
Definitely interesting, and hopefully we see her in SHP soon.
Oh, same. I'd love to. She's super talented, and I really enjoyed working with her. In our match. So I would love for that for sure. Same, big same.
Yeah, they missed the boat on her. I liked her. I liked her. Yeah, her
Oh,
look. They should have. I was hoping she was like a homegrown jersey. I like the people that you know from the beginning when they make it big.
oh, it's the best feeling in the world. It's
I
awesome.
know.
So I was watching one of your older interviews, and you said a fan came up to you one time and said that they've seen Andre the Giant against Bigfoot.
Oh, this is awesome. Yes, yes.
And I was trying to look for footage of that, and I couldn't find it.
This is
Andre
awesome.
that was on the $6 million Man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping that they were referencing, but I do remember Chondo had brought me to some random West Virginia show, and I was doing his merch table for him, and a fan came up to me and started telling me like how long they've been watching wrestling, and like they remember watching Andre the Giant wrestle Bigfoot. And I remember in my head going, like, I remember thinking like, I don't remember that happening on Superstars of Wrestling, but it was so like, I don't know why, but it just popped me so silly that I heard it, and like ever since then, like someone else mentioned that. I think I talked to Tremont about it on the way to ISW, because he had asked me about like traveling with Chondo to like random West Virginia shows, and that's where it happened. So like, yeah, I just recently someone else brought up that story to me. That's awesome.
That's funny. There's no footage of it, right?
That I have, me personally, I've not found Andre the Giant versus Bigfoot yet. If anyone's watching this interview, if you have footage of Andre the Giant versus Bigfoot, please send it in so that we can enjoy this match that a random West Virginia person had mentioned to me. So I'd love to see it.
Here I have a picture of the.
Mike found it.
No, the see. Can you see this? Andre the Giant, and this guy's name is Lee. Have you ever heard of the $6 million Man show?
Yeah. Actually, he got an action figure out of that same gear.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all blurry. Where is this?
Yes.
I don't know. Just look up Andre the Giant in $6 million Man, and they used Andre the Giant, and the $6 million Man fought him in like a hardcore match in the middle of the woods. They were like throwing trees at each other and stuff like that. It was like
awesome.
It was ahead of its time. That's what they were probably talking about. But what do you think of the West Virginia scene out there? What was that like?
It was definitely different. Like I don't remember any of the people that were on the show though. So I mean, unfortunately, they didn't stick out too much in my mind. But it's definitely a different crowd. Like I would say it's a. Well, here's the thing. It's weird because I remember more vividly for West Virginia when I was there for VOW, Vicious Outcast Wrestling, when Tremont was there. Crowd in West Virginia for the show that Chondo was on, I don't remember that much, but I do remember VOW's crowd loved the deathmatch product. I remember they were really deathmatch heavy, and that was a really fun time.
Okay, I've been to TOD, IWA Mid South, and IWA Deep South. Alabama, Indianapolis, Midway, and the scene, the crowd is complete. All three are completely different.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
I mean, like it's a different scene. I mean, not negative, but just a different scene. Overall,
totally
have you ever been to Carnage Cup?
No. I did wrestle on one IWA show though.
Yeah, I saw that in there. Yeah, I saw that. We'll talk about that. But the Matt Tremont made his big major, like he really made his name when he wrestled. Who did he wrestle in that Carnage Cup down in
Spider Pedro?
No, did he wrestle Danny Havoc?
It was actually Danny Havoc, yeah, the shopping cart. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and that was I think that was his first big break in a death
It
match.
definitely was. Yeah, definitely.
He wasn't even in CCW at that time, I don't think.
No, not yet. No, that was like February 2011. He didn't.
Yeah, I was at that show.
June 2011.
Yeah, and it's a different scene. And then the IWA Mid South is a different scene, and the CZW is a different. Even Pondo's Masters of Pain. So I don't know, just like like you've traveled around the country,
Yeah.
and you get a different scene. You even going into a Walmart in Virginia is like I went to the POR show down there in POR at Grand Prix.
Yeah.
You know about that?
I do. JJ Allen's thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I went down there with my buddy Lee, and it's a different scene. I mean, even going into a Walmart is a different. Everything went to a Cracker Barrel. It's completely different than seeing. I don't know. It's hard to pinpoint. It's like a different world. So you get a different. Like, do certain fans like different things in those different places? Do you have to like?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, really? So let's say you're not the first match, and you get a feeling of the crowds. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, like I think a prime example is when I wrestled for IWA Mid South in that 4-way dance with Austin, Mark, and Dylan. Was when we came out, like they weren't opposed to us in any way, but they definitely want to see us prove themselves to them before they emotionally invested in us. Like they want to see like if we had what it took, and we did. We killed it. And then afterwards, they were clapping and cheering, and they were into us. Like where I feel like for example, like at the H2O building, if we were to have that match and they didn't know who we were, they would still kind of play with us a little bit. Where like IWA Mid South scene, they want to see you prove yourself before they let any emotion or feeling. Yeah.
Well, is please come back the biggest feeling you can get?
Yes, and it was a great feeling. It was a great feeling.
Yeah. Ian was good to you? He treated you good?
Ian was great. Like I feel bad. I can't say anything bad about Ian.
No, we like Ian. We like Ian.
In my personal interaction, like Ian was always nice to me. Always nice to me.
He loves the business. He's a good guy. He tried.
Wrestling, absolutely.
He loves the business. So that was a good experience. You got CZW and IWA Mid South on your.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got to wrestle for a lot of places that I got to grow up watching. CZW, IWA, Chikara, like a lot of really, really cool places. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
you got to wrestle for the world title in IWA, right?
I did. That was on a pro wrestling train wreck show, JC Rotten's place. And JC, like, I remember that card was really stacked too. There was a lot of good talent on that. Mance Warner, Akira, John Wayne Murdoch, Hoodfoot. Like the scene down there is really good. Like the Indiana Deathmatch crew, like there's a lot of really good guys on that scene.
Anything? How'd you feel going into that match, wrestling for a belt? Helped by Eddie.
It was cool. It was cool. Anytime you get to wrestle for a title, it's always a big deal because it's like, company invests so much time into whatever the title is that like having your name underneath that is always something cool, always something sick.
Awesome.
We got to get you a title. If you had a
I am definitely in the process of making an SHP championship for sure. It's gonna look really nice, really nice.
Oh, you're getting a title belt made?
Absolutely. Do
you know anything about title belts?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a belt maker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't ask him about belts. He doesn't know anything about belts. He buys these plastic ones from. He goes to Walmart and gets the plastic WWF. He brings them to shows. He goes to indie conventions with a plastic WWF belt, proudly showing.
Oh, I love it.
I love the fan. You know what? I have a plastic belt that somebody gave me, like U.S. Championship, and I want to bring that to like a convention and proudly put it over my shoulder.
Oh, please do. That's awesome.
Icons of Wrestling.
I'll do it to Icons of Wrestling. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Are you going to Icons of Wrestling?
I would love to see you guys there, 100%.
Are you going to be there?
I'm available that day, so I'm definitely down.
No, but are you gonna do you go to those conventions?
Whenever Valencia has me, absolutely. I love going to those with you guys. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Always. Justin's the best.
I try.
You succeed.
I'd like to get my monetary payment someday, but that's going to be fucking shyster are working on you, buddy. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get this money pretty soon. I don't know if you've been following the videos. It's been going on too long.
So next, going into 2023, who would you like to wrestle? Any names that you would want to see yourself wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest dream match and goal for me is Paul London, 100%. I'd love to make that happen. Alex Cologne's a huge one that I'd love to get in there with. Matthew Justice, I'd love to wrestle. Those are definitely the top three off my head that I would definitely like to get in there with.
That's a big dude, Matthew. He was in a POR. I didn't know he was that big. He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's pretty tall. People don't realize how tall he is.
He went flying off a roof of a house on that show. I think it's on IWTV now, isn't it?
Yeah. That man has no fear. No fear, Matt Justice.
Watch that show. That was outrageous.
I watched the first one from 2020. I got to watch the second.
Oh, yeah. It's well worth it. Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out.
Mm-hmm. So we got more questions. Yeah. I'm amazed. I mean, and I remember when Mickey Knuckles was in a TOD or no King of the Deathmatch tournament. There was no women doing death matches. None.
No.
Right. Lufisto was a little bit of hardcore, but not real crazy. And it was actually controversial for Mickey to be in a deathmatch tournament.
Yeah.
If you know the story, like Ian didn't want to put her in it, all that kind of stuff. But she begged to be, then she did good. Now, what do you think of these women doing these death matches? We watched death matches for all our life. Yeah. And then now these women are going hard.
Yeah. I think it's incredible and more power to them. Like,
yeah, no,
I like it. And especially in 2022 when like there's so many incredible women deathmatch wrestlers. Like Casey Kirk's the ICW American Deathmatch Champion. She's awesome. Yeah. Mickey Knuckles, legend. Kennedy Copeland. Sawyer Wreck is one of the hottest, deathmatch people in the world right now. Her stock it's risen, and I think it's awesome. I love it. I love seeing it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I was impressed by Jess Moss because I used to see her at shows.
Yeah,
like a bird. And then next thing you know, she's working at shows. And next thing you know, I didn't know she was training. She's on a show, and I'm like, wait, what are you doing out there?
Yeah.
I like her. I'm kind of like got a little soft spot following her matches. You know what I mean?
Oh, same. And she's had an incredible year too. Like this year alone, she's been in the ring with a lot of great talent. Los Macizos, Mickey Knuckles. Yeah, she's been in there with a lot of good talent.
She's fearless. She's not even afraid to get in there with the guys, huh?
Which is amazing. I was about to say she's already got half the battle won. Just not being scared.
These women, like you wrestle some women. You wrestled some women, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, do you tackle it differently than a man, or do you we're treating you?
I don't treat it differently at all. They train just like me. They put in the same amount of work, the same amount of time, just as me. So I always treat them the exact same.
No, but I mean, is it weird hitting a woman like when you're hit? You know how like the taboo, like you can't like you.
Yeah, no. In that regard, yeah. In that regard, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we did another interview with another guy. We were talking about it, and like in the general, wrestling is so weird from the regular world. I'm going to call it.
It is.
Where
It is though.
it is weird, and only we can understand it. Where like if you were to like in a bar, you up for touch, you touch that, right? You know what I mean? But in a wrestling world, it's okay. In fact, if you don't hit them hard, they're going to get mad that you didn't hit them hard. You're not making
Exactly.
it up. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, don't take
It's
it
such
easy
a
on me
taboo.
because
Yeah.
it's such a taboo. So you have to, you almost have to hit them hard or harder than you'd hit a guy, because if you don't hit them hard, then they're going to so it makes her look bad.
Yeah,
You
it
better-
does. It's such a it's so weird. It's so weird but true. Like it's such a catch. It's such a
Yeah,
double-edged
right
sword.
You can't win. The guy can't win.
No,
Yeah,
you really can't win for losing.
I know. That's funny. That's
Good.
You
Yeah.
know,
It keeps evolving. You know.
Mickey wants to be hit. Yeah, she's tough. The funny thing is that wrestling, the thing about wrestling is so crazy is nowhere else can you go up to a guy like a puny guy or me or anybody and say, I'm gonna go to that 260-pound 6'3" guy and I'm gonna call him a punk ass bitch. Right? And you're like, what? Like you would never do that in public at a bar or
No.
something. You know,
No.
they're like, but in a wrestling show, you're a punk ass bitch.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
It's so
nowhere
true,
else.
though.
Or you could go to a girl. I mean, it's terrible. And the girls like a heel valet wants to eat, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you just sit there and ignore her, like she's gonna be like, God, I'm not pissing anybody off, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you could go there. You're up. You know, you could just insult her all you want. Where anywhere else, it would be totally inappropriate. You couldn't do that in a football game to a
Oh
cheerleader.
no, not at all. It's such a
So that's what
wrestling is the best alternative universe. It's amazing.
It's great.
Yes,
That's great.
I think wrestling could probably be used by psychiatrists of like, no, really, like get your anger out, like look, don't look if you're mad with your wife, go to a wrestling show and just yell at the women there, yell at the girl.
Yes, exactly.
Project that's your wife and think of that's, and then just get it all out. Don't touch her, but just yell, scream. You know.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
Yeah. But yeah, the girls are doing good. I'm loving watching them. Zone 23 girls are crazy too.
Oh yeah, they're tough. They're tough. I wouldn't mess with them.
No.
So yeah, you know, a little more about H2O. What was your favorite H2O show? You know, looking from the outside in, what was
Stadium show?
the stadium show? The stadium.
That was a
shows
big. That was a big show. That was a very big show. I mean, that's a great one. I also love Hardcore Kingdom 3 from March 2019. I thought that was a really, really good show.
What was on that?
That was the tournament that Mitch Valen won.
Mitch one.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
Okay.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a great show. That tournament lineup is stacked too. It's a great lineup.
Oh yeah, all those lineups are good. They bring in people.
Yeah, they bring in people. They get a lot of good talent.
I was going to talk about the stadium show. You got anything you want to ask me?
No.
No.
A stadium show.
Yeah, the Trent Stadium.
Trent Stadium show. It was a crazy show. What was your thoughts on it?
I thought it was insane that H2O was in a baseball stadium. Like that's as authentic to FMW as you can get. Like I thought that was really awesome. Main event was insane. Like especially like a couple feet away from the ring. Like that was unlike anything I'd ever experienced ever. Probably will never experience anything like that ever again. It was unreal.
Right. You came out. You wrestled in the hardcore battle royal, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then you came out with that, right?
Yeah. He requested it, and I was super honored. And
did you know? Did you know you were coming out with him? When did you find out you were coming out with him? That
I didn't know. I didn't know until the match before Tremont. Like someone like because I was gonna watch the rest of the show in the in the seating. So I was with a couple of the wrestlers, and someone came up to me and said Tremont would like to see you. So I go to the side of the ballpark where he was, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to walk out with me." And it was a huge honor. It really meant a lot that he wanted that.
Most people wouldn't think that's big. That is a huge thing. You're walking out in a stadium, the biggest show in this company's history, with Onita, a legend of epic proportions, and you were out there, and you jumped in the ring after he got blown up, right?
Oh my gosh, that was awful. I was there for every bit of it. Every bit of it. I remember trying to get him to go downstairs into the into where like the dugout like locker room was, and I remember Tremont walked by all the fans and he said, "I hope you got your money's worth. Thank you, thank you." And like literally seeing the smoke. Yes, still seeing the smoke come off of him. It was insane.
That was one of my favorite experiences, man. That was so well worth it. I don't know how more people should have been there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the show was good. The Onita, the just the whole atmosphere of the whole place was so exciting. You know, I walked up. We got there a little late, right before the show started. I walked up, and you know, it was kind of like, it wasn't like a ticket stand. You walked up.
Hey, there you guys are. What's up, everybody?
Hold on. I'm on my phone with my lawyer. Yeah, Elliot. Listen, I want you to put in the contract, that we need new equipment. All right, this guy's driving me crazy. We can't make any money this way. Yeah, put that in by the next show. New equipment. Put that in the contract. All right, Schmuck. All right. Get Shyster working on this new contract. All right, I'm paying you guys good money for this. All right, good. Through new equipment's got to be in the contract.
Oh man.
You need a good lawyer for anything. Elliot Schmuck and Eugene Shyster.
Shyster and Schmuck. I'll definitely be.
Schmuck and Shyster. They're expensive, but they're worth it.
Absolutely.
That's coming at. So we're talking about the show.
What were we talking about?
The arena show.
Oh, the stadium. The stadium show. Oh, you were right there. Look, that was one of my favorite experiences. Oh, we were walking up the steps, and because we got there later, there was like something weird about nobody was taking tickets, or I just walked right in, right? And I'm like, and the guy's like, look, they didn't even take our tickets. I said, we got to go buy these tickets. We're supporting this show.
No, which is so awesome.
You know how it was kind of like a wild singing there?
Yeah, it definitely was.
You gonna work this on? All right, okay. We got it going. So we walked up, and then we met a couple guys. They're like, look, they're not even. No one's taking the ticket. I'm like, we're paying. We weren't trying to sneak in or nothing. I'm like, we're paying for this show. This is a big show. I didn't even feel bad about paying, like, because I wanted to support that show, and that thing was such a great experience. After the show, we went up there and met Onita.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And he was real cool. He was signing things, the explosion stuff,
all that stuff.
He's a good guy. Yeah, we liked him. I met him a few times at the arena. Stuff like that. Yeah. It's so exciting seeing him, because I used to watch his tapes in the mid '90s.
Tapes, yeah.
And I'm like, and if you'd have told me you'll see that guy, it's incredible. Yeah.
Awesome. You met him the first time he was at CZW, right?
I was, August 2017, yeah.
You know, I was looking up his cage match list. The guy's had like 20 or 30 explosion light in this last year.
Which is insane. I don't know how he does it. That's wild.
I don't know how he does it. He was
so
years ago. Now he's stepping it up.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He can't need the money because he makes so much off autographs and stuff. I don't know. He must love the business.
The love of the game. The love of the game.
I was glad when Matt came out of retirement.
Oh, that makes two of us. Yeah, big agreed. Definitely.
Yeah, that was good. I'm happy. He's
back. Yeah, back and killing it.
Is there
anything else? Is there anything you want to plug?
I just want to thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you. It was a lot of fun doing the show. Oh, absolutely. I do have the next two SHP shows, Friday, December 2nd at 7:30 p.m. Williamstown, and then Sunday, December 18th at 3 p.m. in Williamstown, New Jersey as well. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Sean, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so awesome. Every time we talk, you are the best.
I love
Yeah,
you guys. Well, you guys
Yeah,
are
I'm gonna try to get to the. I can't go to the second, but the afternoon show on because I haven't even been watching much football. I'd rather be there. I'm gonna try to get to that one. That's like I'm gonna look. Yeah, try to hit that one up. But I do watch all the IWTV, so you get credit for that type of thing. You know?
Oh yeah. Thank you guys. Thank
Sean,
you.
thank you.
We're gonna have to
We'll see
take.
you soon.
We're gonna have to take Gorby to the hospital. He's bleeding.
Oh no. Thank
Uh,
you guys for having me.